all your knowledge.
What is up, everyone, and welcome back to Across the Board, sponsored by MoneyBall Metrics. You have your normal Monday team here. You have myself, Alpha Dog Bets, here with JD from Line Movers. And guys, we have Hefe here, as always, from Hefe Picks. Fellas, we are doing our March Madness preview show today. I'm super excited to dive into it. Over to the chat. The boys are already here. We have Joe in the chat. Let's fucking go. Another day to cash some tickets. Hell yeah, brother. Nick is here as well. I heard the news, Nick. I'm very excited to hear. I expect to see a picture of the two of you boys at that Duke game. I heard that you guys have some big plans. So, love to hear that. JD, happy Monday, brother. Happy St. Patrick's Day. How are you today?
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Thank you for saying that. I kind of forgot about that. Not wearing green, but I don't think any of us are actually wearing green.
I got green pants on.
Okay. Yeah, never mind.
No comment.
But yeah, man, this is going to be a cool show. It's the first one that we've ever done quite actually like this. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot of fun, man.
Absolutely. Hefe, over to you. How are you, brother?
Doing great, man. Calm before the storm. What a week, man. To think that tomorrow does start, but Thursday, 12 o'clock can't come soon enough. Greatest time.
Absolutely, I agree. And Nick, great point there. Well, fellas, let's give everyone a lowdown, a breakdown of what we're going to be doing today. We are going to be going over all of the opening matchups, not opening matchups. Let me rephrase that. That sounds terrible. The first four matchups, the last teams to get in. We're going to be breaking down those four games, as well as going over some futures, talking about our final four, and a little reminder to everyone, we will be live this week, Monday, Thursday, Friday at 10:30. Thursday and Friday are the two shows we're doing at 10:30, so we can get you guys the breakdowns of the actual first round. Today, like I said, we're doing the first four games. We're doing the futures and going over our final four. So, fellas, before we do that, what we always do on this show is we go over our weekend recap. We talk about how we did, go over everything like that. So, JD, we're going to start with you, bro. How did you do this weekend?
Man, this weekend, let me pull it up here. I actually completely evened out, man, over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's kind of how my month has actually been. I'm just around that actually even mark. Have some good days and have some little down days, but yeah, just this month so far has just been kind of evened out. So definitely looking to go on a little run here.
There we go. Hefe, how are you doing? How was your weekend?
Solid weekend, guys. Solid weekend. I mean, so many games, all over the place. Biggest play of the weekend was St. John's over Creighton. And we'll get more into St. John's, but man, when that team's backs against the wall, they go to another level that I don't know right now if I feel it's because of the teams that they're facing, like the Big East is, a little low. How are they going to do against teams outside of that? But I'm starting to believe.
More to come on that. So we will be going over that, Hefe. We're just talking about your weekend recap, so let's not get too into the Johnnies, but I agree with you. I think the Johnnies have been fantastic. I had them in both games this weekend as well, Saturday and Sunday. They cashed both games, and we had a +4 unit weekend. So I'm very happy, very excited to be diving into the first four games. You fellas ready to dive in to the breakdown of the first four games of March Madness?
Let's do it.
Let's get it, gentlemen. First game we're going to be breaking down today is going to be St. Francis taking on the Alabama State Hornets. St. Francis is coming in 16-17 on the year. They are an under 500 ball club, taking on Alabama State, who's coming in 19-15. Both these teams obviously won in their conference to get the automatic qualifiers. Two smaller known schools. Hefe, we're going to kick it off with you. What do you like in St. Francis versus Alabama State?
Well, I'll put it to this. St. Francis is out of the field of 68. Remember, there's 68 total teams. St. Francis is team number 68. They are the lowest rated team in the entire tournament by the committee, which, based on what you thought of their performance yesterday, the committee, you might say that who gives a crap because they don't know what the hell they're doing. We can get into that conversation when we talk about the next game. This is a pure me looking at, I don't know much about St. Francis. I don't know much about Alabama State. When I looked at Alabama State, I saw that they've won 6 games in a row. including being pretty much every top team in their conference. Same thing for St. Francis. But then when I look at this season, I like the fact that Alabama State has three guys in their starting lineup that average double digits. They're a team that averages around 74 points a game. And in my opinion, when I Francis, I think they can score more. I think they can beat them. This is not a team that I think can do much in St. Francis. I think they got lucky and they won their conference championship game in one of the nastiest, just muck it up type of games. I want to say the final was like 44 to 43 or something.
46-43 was the final of their conference.
So I'm taking Alabama State here. Give me it on the spread minus 3.5. This is like, a bad team versus a better team.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think these are two not so great teams. St. Francis was not supposed to be here. We all know that they finished the year 16-17, and they got hot in their conference tournament. They beat Central Connecticut, who was the clear favorite of this conference of the Northeast. They were 14-2 in conference going into that game. Central Connecticut was 25-7 going into that game. And St. Francis was able to hold them to only 43 points. This team has found ways to win when they're pretty much outmatched in most of their games. When you take a look at how these two teams have done on the season against the spread, Alabama State has really struggled to cover games. They are 15-18 on the year, covering at 45%, while St. Francis is 17-14 on the year, and they're covering at a much more respectable rate right now. So I'm going to be on St. Francis with the points, the plus 3.5. Not sure they win this game, but I do think they keep it close. When you take a look at both these teams, all the games they've been playing recently have been close. So Alabama State's last 5, they won 60-56, 4-point game. They won 64-62, 2-point game. They won 84-79, 5-point game. So their tournament games have been very close. On the other side with St. Francis, they won 46-43. They won by 3. They beat LIU 71-68. They won by 3. They beat Wagner 58-55. And then the 2 games before that both went to overtime. So they're playing very close games. They're competing in every single game. And I think that they keep this one within 3.5 points. Give me St. Francis. I definitely love this play. JD, what you got?
As far as actually like college ball goes, I actually follow a bunch of teams. But I do have to say, these two are not those teams.
They are very small school teams.
So I do not have the best read on actually both these teams. I do have to say, though, as far as the season goes, neither one of these teams really did anything great. But both teams did end the season very strong. I believe that St. Francis, they ended the season going actually 8-2, while actually Alabama State finished the season going actually 9-1. Just by numbers here, model does actually have Alabama State as a favorite, but it is by less than a half of a point.
Yeah.
So I do have to lean the dog here.
Let's go.
I actually believe you can actually get 3.5. So that is definitely how I lean.
Yeah, and as I said, JD, all year this team has done better than expected. They have covered more games than they haven't covered, which is a good sign to see they're beating the expected spread on average. Well, on the other side, Alabama State has not, like I did break it down earlier. They have not beat the expected spread more than half the game. So to me, I think that's a big tell here. And St. Francis, like we said, have been playing very close, so I absolutely love that. Hefe, anything to add before we move into the controversial game?
I was just going to add, this is the first game tomorrow night, first game of the tournament. This line is going to move one way or the other. Not a lot of people today, are just filling out their bracket, not really thinking about this game because whoever they're playing, which I'm assuming it's Auburn, they're just slating Auburn in. Like, they don't give a crap. So this line's going to move as people become more aware that this is the first game. I'm not going to wager on it.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. And I think this one is probably one of the harder ones to cap. So we're only doing 1U from my side at least. We're getting into March Madness a little slow, but don't worry, when we get into Thursday, Friday, there will definitely be some bigger plays. All right, boys, next game we're breaking down is one that I think we're going to spend a little bit of time on because we have to talk about UNC. They are here. Should they be here? In my opinion, no. But here we are. They have made the big dance, and they have a first 4 game against San Diego State. Hefe, thoughts about UNC making it? Thoughts about this game? Break it down.
I'm torn. Part of me is like, they played better later in the year than earlier in the year.
They did.
I understand. part of me is like West Virginia did the opposite. They played better in the beginning of the year than they did later in the year. But that's, in my opinion, that's not how the committee looks at it. They don't view their choices, at least in my opinion, on recency bias, right? How good you did in your conference tournament, how good you blah, blah, blah. They have this whole system, quad 1 wins, quad 4 losses, all this crap, whatever.
Yes, they do. But did you hear one thing they said about this? And I think JD may be touching on the same point. The reason they said West Virginia did not make it, is that what you were going to say, JD, or a different point?
Well, no, like I was just going to go into the quad 1 stuff, but you can go.
So
ahead.
mine's totally different. So did you hear the reason on why UNC got in over West Virginia?
Why?
Because Tucker or Taylor, forget his first name, DeVries, the coach's kid, is hurt. The reason they said they did not get in had nothing to do with their wins and losses, had nothing to do with quad 1, quad 2, quad 3, whatever. What they said was, you lost your best player. You're not the same team. Unfortunately, we can't put you in because of that. Their exact reasoning when the old guy got on TV, forget his name, the head of the whole thing, and broke down why each team got in and didn't get in. He said because they got hurt. They lost.
Do you know who that gentleman is? What his day job is?
No.
He's the AD for North Carolina.
Ha! That's interesting. Is he really?
And yeah, you didn't know that? It's all over.
It's all over
social media.
That's very interesting.
So it's actually kind of hilarious. So he is the head of the committee. Now, every year or every couple of years, they do have a new head of the committee. It's not like there's a monopoly on here. But whatever, UNC's AD is the head of the committee. And when you are the AD for a certain university, and your university is up for debate, you're not allowed to have a vote in that decision.
Yeah.
So UNC getting in had nothing to do with him. But he has his day job. He has a clause in his contract. If UNC makes the tournament, he gets a bonus of 1 month of salary. I looked into it. The man makes $1.2 million a year. So that means he got $100,000 for this decision that was made without his vote, so to speak. Look, guys, do I think it's sketchy? Yeah. Do I care right now? Yeah. Am I going to care by the time that the tournament starts? Hell no, I don't give a shit. Why? Because I actually think UNC wins this game versus SDSU, and I think they have a shot to make a little noise in the tournament. I understand the thought process of the West Virginia losing their best players. They probably go to this game versus SDSU, and SDSU wins, and they keep it moving. This game is more competitive with UNC in it. I agree with. I don't know why UNC's in this tournament, though. They had a really bad year, absolutely cleaned it up later in the year. They look like a team that can make some noise, especially with the veterans they have. I mean, this has got to be RJ Davis's 7th tournament appearance.
Yeah, it's his 17th year in college basketball, it feels like, with RJ Davis. And I agree with you. I think it's definitely interesting that they got in, but am I upset that they got in? Do I think they're a better basketball team than West Virginia and Indiana? I do. Do I think right now they're a better team than both, and it's not even comparable. But do I think they deserve it? No. It's very similar. Nick put it in the comments earlier, Florida State with the college football playoffs a year or two ago. Were they one of the top 4 teams to get in a year or two ago? No. But did they deserve it? Yes. I think we're in a similar situation here, but I do think it provides us better basketball games, so I'm not going to complain too much. Now, going back into this game, San Diego State is not the normal San Diego State team we are used to. We're used to San Diego State having Matt Bradley out there, the guy who played at Cal, then went to San Diego State, and it feels like he was in college for 40 years. He's another RJ Davis. He was fantastic for them. They're not going to have him. They don't have Jaden Leday anymore. He also graduated. So this is not the normal San Diego State Aztecs team that we've seen over the last couple of years. They don't have that guy. The last couple of years, they've had a guy who could take over a game. Leday could put up 30 in a game. Matt Bradley could put up 30 in a game. They don't have that this year. Their leading scorer is Nick Boyd, and Boyd averages 13 points per game. He's a solid player, but they don't have that same guy they've had the last couple of years. I can't stress that enough. And when it comes to the big tournament, I'm going to be all over North Carolina in this spot. I'll let it out even early. Oh, Tar Heel, we haven't seen you in a while. Way to jump in. Congratulations for your team to get in there. Good to see you, Tar Heel. And I'm backing your Tar Heels. I think they're going to have a big performance here. I'll let it out early. Tar Heel, I think you guys win another game in this tournament. I like how North Carolina has heated up as the season went on. I like how they looked in their conference tournament as well. And I think they have a dream opening matchup against San Diego State. I don't think San Diego State can score with North Carolina. Taking a look at San Diego State's most recent performances, they got bounced by Boise State in their conference, and they only were able to put up 52 points. They're going to need to score a lot more than 52 points to compete with North Carolina, because North Carolina will put points on the board. Definitely one of my favorite plays of the opening round. Give me North Carolina. JD, thoughts on North Carolina getting in? Thoughts of Indiana and West Virginia not getting in? And then thoughts on this game.
If you're, as far as in quad one, if you have a record of actually 1-12, you should not be in. Like, that's to me, that's nuts. And actually, yes, that's what UNC has. Their actual quad one record is 1-12. The actual West Virginia team, I mean, that's who I would have to put in, if I was going to. With saying all of that, is this going to be a better game now? Probably so. But if you just go off of who they, if they really should have been based on the entire season, I would say no.
I agree.
But anyway, this game here, the Tar Heels, I'm just looking to actually fade them. I mean, I know that most people are actually looking to back them now, and I understand it. To actually some point, I think this line is kind of getting a little bit out of hand though. I actually do have them favored, but I have them favored at just barely over 2 points here. Looks like at DraftKings, it looks like I can get a plus 4.5. So actually that's where I'm going to go. Because actually UNC may actually win this game, but I think it's going to be a very close game.
I can see it being a close game as well. I do think the Tar Heels will actually blow it out, but I do think there is a chance it could be a close game. Red hot take. I see here you're putting in that Tucker DeVries was out for most of the years. Yes, he got hurt in early December, but that is what the North Carolina guy, I don't know what his role is, the head of the committee, he came out and said because their best player is injured, we can't put them in the tournament. Word for word. You can look up the videos of him saying it last night. So that is the reason they said he didn't go in. I know he's been out, but pretty lame reason, in my opinion, to say a team can't get in, especially when they've been dealing with this player who's been out since December. We're in the middle of March. Quite a long time ago that his injury occurred. All right, boys. I think it's time we move on to the next game we're going over. And that's going to be Mount St. Mary's taking on American University Eagles. They're both coming in with identical records, 22-12. Let's see how these teams have done in their recent performances. Shocking to none. The only reason they're here is because they both won their conferences. They both come in on coming in on 4-game win streaks. Both had impressive wins in their championship. Mount St. Mary's beat Iona 63-49. Definitive 14-point win there. And American beat Navy by 22 points. Another definitive win there. Hefe, we're going to start with you. What do you like in Mount St. Mary's versus American?
Not gonna lie to you, this is probably the game out of the first first four games. Wow, tongue twister that I will be completely staying away from. I look at it, I see two teams that are very evenly matched in terms of points scored per game. American really just has one guy, Rogers, who averages 17 for them. If he has the type of game that he's supposed to have, American wins. If Mount St. Mary's, who's more of a spread-out offense in terms of 4 starters scoring double digits, can keep Rogers to having a not-so-great game, Mount St. Mary's wins. And I think that's going to be pretty much the game plan for both. I lean Mount St. Mary's because I like in the tournament, I think you have a better chance when you have more offensive opportunities than just hoping that your best player stays hot and gets hot. So I'm going to go with the dog here, Mount St. Mary's. I'll take them on the money line, plus 125.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. This, I agree with Hefe's first point, that this is the worst game in the first 4. It's very hard to decipher who's the better team here. They both play terrible schools. They're both in terrible conferences, just being honest. So it's really tough to get a gauge on who's a better team here. Going to be honest, I'm not going to have any action on this game. This is what I'm just going to watch, enjoy, and like I said, enjoy the game. But I'm not going to have any action on Mount St. Mary's versus American. JD, how about you?
Yeah, this is one I doubt I actually end up betting. But I have these. I mean, I have this as just pretty much a dead even game.
I do as well.
So the fact that actually you can get the Mount at a plus, 125.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind a shot there. because I just everything like every way that I like go about looking at teams, this is a dead even game.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, it would just be dog on the money line or either pass.
I hear that for sure. All right, boys, we're going to keep it moving because the next game is another banger. We're moving right in to Xavier taking on Texas. And, guys, this is the actual last game we're breaking down because this is the last game of the first 4 rounds. Just a friendly reminder, we'll be back Thursday, 10:30, an hour and a half before opening tip to break down the entire first round. So make sure you guys are prepared for that. But over to this game, Xavier's coming in 21-11, taking on Texas that is 19-15. Hefe, I know you like this Texas team. But as we got to Selection Sunday last night, as the hours went on, it looked like this team was dead to rights. What were they, plus 450 to make the tournament? Something like that right before the show kicked off. So it wasn't looking like Texas had any chance of getting in. Hefe, they got their opportunity. They're in the big dance. Are they going to take advantage of it?
Yes. Look, Texas is. I'm actually looking at it. It's impressive. The second to last team in the third to last team in SEC conference regular season. Is that a microcosm of how insane the SEC was? My answer, yes. When you have 14 teams make the tournament, it's okay to be the 14th. Like, the talent in that conference is insane.
Yep.
And on top of that, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Trey Johnson the SEC Freshman of the Year?
I believe so. 20 points per game.
He is, SEC Freshman of the Year, only getting better as the season goes on. They had a gauntlet of a schedule, as everybody did in the SEC. And let me tell you, towards the end of the year, pulled it out against Mississippi State, who, as we know, is a 8 or 9. I think they're the 8 seed.
I think they're an 8.
Pulled it out in the SEC Conference tournament against Vandy. Pulled out against Texas A&M, who I'm blanking, but they're either 5 or 4 seed, I believe.
No, they're a 4 seed taking on Yale.
Yeah, okay. And then they lost to a Tennessee team that flat out is cream of the crop in the SEC. I think Texas is playing their best basketball, and I truly believe when it comes to the tournament, it is like that NFL like kind of a adage, right? Where it's like the team that's hot towards the end is the team that I'm going to start backing. Baseball,
That's a baseball thing.
I don't really consider how your November, December, and January went when I'm looking at these games right here. Not talking about who can make the tournament, because Texas is another one where you put them up against the teams that made it over, the Indianas, the West Virginias that we just mentioned, and even a team like Boise State had a chance. Texas, the committee probably looked and said, look at all these games that they were in. They ended up losing, but the SEC is a gauntlet. I'm taking Texas in this spot. They're the dog, which I don't love. I see why people would want to bet Xavier, especially because Xavier, by the way, their loss against Marquette. We'll never forget that one, especially if you were a Marquette backer. But I like Texas, and I like how good Trey Johnson is, best player on the court. Give me Texas. I'll take him on the money line. I believe it's $1.25.
Yeah, I'm on the exact same wavelength you are, which is a little scary. We're in lock and step on a lot of these bets today, but I'm in agreement with you. I think Texas is the better team for Xavier. Xavier has one guy who needs to go off, and that's Fremantle. If Fremantle's not having a huge game and doesn't absolutely go off, I do think Texas will have a huge performance. Texas played better teams all year long. Xavier's coming out of the Big East, and let's be honest here, guys, not a great year for the Big East. It really wasn't. They finished 5th in the Big East. They did not have a particularly great year. And I do think this Texas team is deeper. They have better shooters. They have better big men. And I think all around this Texas team will get it done. I'm surprised they're the underdog here. I would have thought they were slightly favored. But if you're going to give me that, I'm still taking the money with the plus points here. Give me Texas. They should have no problem getting by Xavier. JD?
Guys, y'all like just talked about playing on teams that are hot, that are playing well. I actually like the end here. And this like the Xavier team to me has been playing great ball. I am actually all over them here. So sorry, guys. I am on the other side here. I actually make this number 4. But I am going to take them on I'm going to take them on the money line at minus 137. And actually these types of games were like normally during actually like the regular season, I actually would normally like lay the points. During actually during this time of year though, I actually tend to not do that actually quite as much. I am going to go ahead and lay that juice here. I mean, yeah, when you come down to it, when you're actually talking about the last actually like 10 games of the season, I mean, actually Texas went 4-6, which yes, I understand. Those were against very good
Cream
teams.
of the crop.
Yes, those were very good teams. Xavier looks like they finished the season. I believe they were 8-2. I just from watching them play, this is more of that for actually me. From watching them play, I really liked what I saw. That last loss they had, I believe that Marquette just kind of went nuts actually that game. They actually made a ton of threes. So I don't really hold anything like against them there. So yeah, for actually me, guys, just to keep it simple, this actually number to me is actually like a little bit short. I will be on them here.
There we go. All right. One of us is going to be happy. One of us, or two of us, will either be happy or unhappy, and the other one will be either happy or unhappy. But more to come as the week goes on with that, fellas. We just broke down the first four, but there's still a ton we're doing on this show today. That's why we're here early. There's a ton we still have to get over. And boys, I have a question for the two of you. The next segment that we're going to be doing today is, who's your Cinderella, guys? What double-digit seed has a chance to make some serious noise? You can give me one team, you can give me two teams, but up to two. Who are your Cinderellas that have a chance to make a real run here? Hefe, I'm going to start with you.
Well, I think, listen, you always have to make these decisions, obviously, based on a little bit of luck, a little bit of path. I think the team that has the best path right now to make it out of the first weekend, so to make it into Sweet 16, in my opinion, is Yale. There's no favorable matchup, but they're getting A&M in the first round, a team that I think is a good matchup for the style that Yale plays. But I really think it comes down to the ability of them possibly getting another double-digit seed in the second round, where High Point might be able to take off Purdue. And I think Yale would. What?
It would be Michigan, UC San Diego.
Sorry. UC San Diego would take care of Michigan, in my opinion, or even if Michigan beats UC San Diego, I think Yale has a shot at both of those. So Yale is my big double digit to make it into the Sweet 16. Another one, if UNC beats SDSU, I think there's a path for them where if they take care of Ole Miss, they would be the ones that would get, I believe, who would they see in the round of 32? Let me see.
That's what I'm pulling up here. I'm trying to go through those while we go through it. 1 second here. UNC.
So UNC would get Iowa State, who has a major injury to one of their best players, if Iowa State would take care of the Lipscomb.
Yep.
And I think that UNC would actually could match up very well with an Iowa State team that is a defensive, slow it down type of team, and UNC's run. So those are my take. How about you?
I like that. So I'll go here next, guys. Yale's one of my two, so unfortunately you jumped and beat me to the gun there. But Yale is the most physical team in the tournament. People don't really expect that from an Ivy League, but they don't play like an Ivy League team. They are a vintage bully ball, in your face, banging and clanging style team. And I absolutely love this about Yale. They can hit their shots as well. They were an absolute beast in the Ivy Conference this year. I could definitely see them taking out Texas A&M. I'll let it out early. They are in every one of my brackets so far. Yale, I have winning that game. I also have UC San Diego beating Michigan. So the theory that you have, one of these double-digit seeds can get to the Sweet 16 coming through that side. I agree with you guys. I think there's definitely a chance that either Yale or UC San Diego makes it into the Sweet 16. In my brackets, I have Yale. I'm a big Yale believer. I do think Yale will make a run. My second double-digit seed that I'm kind of eyeing that I think has a realistic chance to make a run, and that's going to be McNeese. I think McNeese takes out Clemson. I do not think Clemson is a great team. And I'm not sure Purdue takes out High Point. Purdue has been a team that all year long has disappointed losses. If Fletcher Lawyer is not hitting his shots, if Kaufman-Wren is not dominating down low, this team is not able to really produce on the offensive side. And I can see that happening, especially with the pressure magnetizing in these type of games. So I could see McNeese making a run from the other side of the bracket. But I agree with Hefe that I think my favorite to make a run here is going to be either Yale or UC San Diego, and Yale I favor over those two. JD, who do you like for your Cinderella teams this year?
I'm not as high on Yale as actually y'all, but I like do understand it though. Really, I had to pick my favorite one. It's probably gonna be Utah State.
Really?
Respect.
I respect that.
They've actually been a team actually like all like year. I've like.
But wait a second. Hold on. You're telling me you like Utah State to go to the Sweet 16? So that means that in the second round, you have Utah State beating Tennessee.
Yes.
Wow.
Good. Yes.
Well then, please, the floor is yours.
I am just not really a Tennessee guy actually this year. It seems like they've had some games where they just really haven't shown up for. So that's where like I'm like trying to find spots where those teams have shown that like they can definitely be beat.
100%.
And and that's kind of where this spot is here. And just as far as Utah State, they are a very balanced team.
Yeah, it's a good team. Actually, 3 years in a row, they made the tournament.
So I mean, like that's kind of what I'm looking for here. So if you're looking for a number, Utah State just to win it all is actually plus 40,000. I mean, just throw something on there. I mean, like
if Utah State wins the national championship, I promise you, I will do our next show. I'll get a tattoo of your name or of Utah State.
Good. You remember that, JD? We heard it. I believe that would be Hefe's first tattoo. So if we can get JD tattooed on Hefe for his first tattoo, that would be fantastic. So you guys know I have a new team that I will be rooting for here. But fellas, I think it's time we move into our final 4 picks. JD, I know we have a little plan to get this done. So I'm going to start by putting up the JD bracket. I'm going right in order of what I have on my screen. So JD, you got to explain a lot, brother, because I see an 8-seeded Gonzaga in the Final 4. Please break it down.
Yeah, man. Zags. The way that everything finished out and with them getting this actually 8 seed, I actually think really helped them. I mean, they have to go through some tough teams here. But I actually liked that actually they got this actual 8 seed. They're actually gonna play Georgia first. I don't really think they're gonna have any actual problems there. But then their toughest test is really going to be that next game.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's going to be versus actually Houston. But I think that the Zags, that they're actually just an under like valued team. And their defense, I know sometimes it looks like it's, you wish there was more there. But their defense can be good. If actually they decide to really play it. And actually like on the offensive side of things, I mean, like they're great. Besides obviously the last game of the actual tournament there where they could not make a 3. But anyway, yeah. Then if they can get through Houston though, I really like they're actually like matchups from like there. Probably going to be like a Clemson next. And then I think it's probably going to be actually like Tennessee, which actually, once again, that would be a hell of a game. Once again, I think that they have a good shot of actually getting through there. So yeah, I do have the Zags there. You can get them to reach the Final 4 at +9, I believe +950. I just think that's a great price. For actually this certain team. Then actually playing them, I have Duke. Me as a Duke fan, this actually like path for them, I absolutely love. This is the easiest path by actually far. And I really don't see, I mean, as far as actually like Bama goes, I actually have them like playing them. And Bama, as we know, as far as on the defensive side of the ball, that's not really what they can do. Mm-hmm. Where Duke's actually offense can actually play actually with them, but they have the defense. So that's kind of where I'm at there.
I respect that.
as far as Michigan State goes, I think that Auburn peaked at the wrong time.
Yeah, I feel the same.
That is actually why I do not have them going all of the way here. And yeah, and like the value there, I think is pretty insane. I believe you can get Michigan State to reach the Final Four at plus 550. I actually believe it's at.
Yep.
And to me, that like number is just great.
A few 1,000%.
Now, as far as Florida goes, okay, this is the one where I'm like, okay, I like have them, but I could see St. John's here. I actually really could. And if you're looking at just betting value wise, I think you can get St. John's here at like, make this like plus 600 or something like that. I'm definitely still going to sprinkle that. Because Florida, to me, where actually Duke has the easiest path, I think Florida has the hardest path.
I would agree. I think the St. John's Florida side is brutal.
Yes. But to me, Florida is currently the best team. And I'm just going to ride that because I think as long as they can get past actually St. John's, I think Florida wins the whole thing.
They have a good shot. They definitely have a good shot.
So that's kind of where I'm going actually with this. So yes, and then for me, give me Florida to win the whole thing. I believe you can still get a plus 425. And yeah, that is how I'm going to go.
I respect that. Well, let me bring mine up here then, gentlemen. Similar, but different. All 2 seeds, boys, are in my Final Four. I don't think I need to go into details on the left side. JD, you just broke down Michigan State beautifully. I agree with you 1,000% in a lot of the things you said. Hefe, you know this. I've been screaming to you personally on the side for about, I don't know, a month now that this Michigan State team is starting to grow on me. Jace Richardson, to me, has a chance to be the player of the tournament. And I think this team has what it takes to potentially win it all. They have size. They have 3 to 4 usable big men. 2 of those 4 can hit an open 3. They have the guard play with Jordan Akins, who can drive and hit an open shot. He's got the lefty dribble. He's fast, and he's fantastic. Holloman, the point guard, is a great facilitator. And like I said, Jace Richardson's been out there since about December when he started turning it on. The true freshman for Michigan State has been unbelievable. So Michigan State, to me, I think is definitely going to be in the top left coming out of that side. Under them, it's tough. It's tough right now between St. John's and Florida. I think every single bracket you see right now has either St. John's or Florida. I think definitively everyone thinks those are the best 2 teams, and it's not even close coming out of that side. And I agree. It's hard to bet against Florida. If you watch them in the SEC tournament, not just the SEC championship, but if you watch them in every game of the SEC tournament, they were unbelievable. They could hit the open 3. They have big men that can run the floor. They can facilitate. They can defend. Florida really does it all. But if you've watched this St. John's team, there's just something about them. They could be down by 15 points in the first half. Doesn't matter. RJ Lewis could start off slow. He could be cold. Doesn't matter. This team storms back game after game and has big performances. They could be down by 30, and the game is not over when St. John's did it. They could score in bunches. They can defend well when they need to, and they have a phenomenal coach in Rick Pitino. So I really do like this St. John's team. And then it was tough for me to put Alabama in this spot. A lot of you guys know I've been talking about Alabama all year on this show, how I love the roster construction, how I love what they have in Mark Sears, how I love how they have Cliff Omarui down low. But they've had a bit of a disappointing season. All that being said, they're still a 2 seed, but they had bigger aspirations, tried to be a 1 seed. They really didn't have the best season. But when you get into March Madness, Baby Brunson, Mark Sears is fantastic. One of the best shooters, one of the most clutch players in college basketball. And I think we see him come alive in a big way and carry Alabama to the Final Four. My final team is Tennessee. And let me tell you something. Until I watched that game yesterday, I don't think I would have had Tennessee going this far. But they really showed me something. This team really has depth. They have a ton of guys that can score the ball. And Tennessee is another one of those SEC teams that has been fantastic all year long that I have to back. So my Final Four, guys, is Michigan State, the Johnnies, the Crimson Tide, and Tennessee. Hefe, let's put yours up. You are up, sir.
Well, you guys pretty much went over every team that I had, so I'll be really quick. I'll start from Michigan State, work my way around. Sparty is going to get to the Elite Eight, and they will most likely face Auburn, which I think will be one of the best games that we see. I just think in that game, it's going to be coaching. And I've seen Bruce Pearl get out coached by coaches that are way less than Tom Izzo.
I'd agree.
So I'm going to give Michigan State the win there and going to the Final Four. St. John's is my favorite team in this tournament. R.J. Lewis is my favorite player in this tournament.
I hate to admit that I agree with you.
I would, if they're looking for the markets for a most outstanding player of the tournament, I am going to take R.J. Lewis for that. There's going to be multiple games where you're going to see him put the team on his effing back and get St. John's a win. It doesn't matter if they win by 1 or 20. St. John's is scrappy. Their one flaw, and it's going to be their biggest flaw, and if they face off against Florida in the Elite Eight game, it's going to be something that I don't know how they're going to get over, but I'm choosing to get over it, is the fact that they are not a good three-point shooting team, and Florida has 75,000 guys that can shoot a three. Every guard they have is incredible, and I give Florida a lot of talent, but when it comes to grit, grind, and defensive intensity, St. John's has just another lever that I feel like they could tap into that can get them past Florida. And that they are not going to win a game 95 to 82. It's going to be 76, 73 type of wins when it comes to the top tier talent. But I'm going to get the Johnnies the win here, get them into the Final Four.
Let's go.
And I think R.J. Lewis solidifies himself as Tournament Player of the Year. Tennessee, same thing that Alpha just said. This team, if they are not in foul trouble, is one of the best teams in the league.
Yes.
Great point. They have a great point guard who is a shifty, can do it all guy. They have a defensive monster and their locker room leader in Meshack. This guy is a star. And then that's not even talking about their best offensive player. What am I blanking on his name? My God. Can't remember his name.
You'll get there.
I got to look it up. It's driving me nuts. I'll get to it. But
Ziegler?
Tennessee, no, Ziegler's the point guard.
The point guard.
No, he's not the best player. But anyway, moving on. Tennessee is going to get Houston, and I think they match up very well. Very well. Defensive teams with upperclassmen, teams that are coached very well, but I'm going to take Tennessee in there.
Question: do you think Houston is the what's the right word I'm looking for? What's the right word I'm looking for on Houston to describe them? Do you think they're the biggest fraudulent one seed? Do you think they're the first? We've seen a lot of comments in the chat of people who we think is the first one seed that's going to go down. Houston
linear for Tennessee. He was their leading scorer. I blinked on his name. 17 points a game, playing just great basketball. I think Houston is. I think we're just sick and tired of Houston. Every year, it's the same type of player, and then it's just the same freaking result. LJ Cryer, great. Last year, Jamal Shaheed, great. A couple years before that, how about Quentin Grimes? Great. But they just never have enough to get it done. They have the same style of basketball. Kelvin Sampson's a great coach, but it's different players, same system. How can we drown you on our defense and just muck it up? But I think Tennessee could muck it up with them. That's the problem. And then Tennessee's better offensively than them. Duke, I think, has the easiest bracket.
Easily. They've been given a cakewalk.
If Cooper Flagg is healthy, and honestly, he does not even need to play in the first game. If he's just there for the round of 32 game, they should backwards moonwalk into the Final Four. They are deep. They are well coached. They are talented at the top as they are in their second rotation. Proctor is a great point guard. Knopel is one of the best three-point shooters. And if Cooper Flagg is healthy, he is the best talent in the tournament. And that's how I got to my Final Four, guys. And so I guess I'll give you guys, we'll go now backwards for who we think is going to win, our champion. So I'll start. I'm taking Duke. I think Duke takes care of Tennessee. I think Michigan State and St. John's will be one of the best games we've ever seen. And I will hold off on telling you who wins that because honestly, I think that's realistic that we might see it. But I think Duke takes care of whoever wins on that other side. If Cooper Kupp is healthy, Duke is my champion.
Cooper Kupp, huh? JD, who do you have as your
Cooper
champion?
Flagg, sorry. Cooper Kupp's coming back. He's not signing with the Seahawks. He's signing with the Duke Blue Devils.
There we go. JD, who's your champion? Tell us, Duke.
Man, I would love to say Duke, but it's got to be Florida. just currently right now, just because as far as Cooper Flag, I don't know exactly how much he's going to be able to like play and what he's going to look like. Florida is what I'm going to say, but I would love to see Duke, and I think they have a great shot.
Before I give my champion, we have a little breaking news. Iona has fired Tobin Anderson. Do you remember who Tobin Anderson is? He is the guy who led Fairleigh Dickinson last year to beat number 1 seeded Purdue. And he's already been fired after his big promotion. So, little throwback from March Madness from a couple years ago. He's now really didn't get his chance. He's the guy, I believe he's from Iowa, where he had a lot of strong roots to Iowa State. They thought he may be going out there, but he's a phenomenal coach. He will not be out of work for too long. I will go over my champion, and it's a plus 3,000 Michigan State. I believe in the Spartans. I think the Spartans are a very strong underdog spot, and I think there's a ton of value there. A lot of us think that Michigan State has a chance to be in the Final Four. Let's take a look at the shortest odds to win national championship this year. Duke plus 300, Florida plus 380, Auburn plus 500, Houston plus 700, Alabama plus 1,900, Tennessee plus 2,100, Texas Tech plus 2,900, and then finally we get to Michigan State and St. John's around the plus 3,000. I think Michigan State is one of the deepest teams here. I think they have a realistic chance to win the whole thing, and I'm definitely going to take them at the value of plus 3,000. So that's my official pick right now. Fellas, there's still a few things we're still doing on the show. We're flying. We've been on for almost an hour.
As far as the Spartans, I think as far as the Final Four, I think we all actually had them there.
Yeah, we did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you guys listen to us, you believe us, you're going to give me a team that I think is going to go to the Final Four to plus 3,000. I think it's the best value on the board. I really do. And they have the star power in Jace Richardson.
So let me just ask, since we have a little time, do all you guys have Sparty beating Auburn in the Elite Eight?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the exact upset I see happening. That's exactly what it is. I think Sparty could put up points in bunches. I think they didn't have a good showing against Wisconsin in the Big Ten tournament. It was one of those games where Wisconsin could not miss a shot, but those games happen. I think Sparty is the deepest team, and they really have a chance. And they're
Wisconsin, the best team in the Big Ten. Wisconsin, by losing that game to Michigan, I think cost them an opportunity in the Final Four. I'll be honest with you, because I think if they beat Michigan, there's first of all no way Michigan's a 5. That's a conversation for another time. But what? And Wisconsin got a terrible draw, a terrible path, because their second round matchup could very well be a BYU team that is not getting a lot of love nationally. But when they play good, they have one of the best point guards in the league, one of the best shooter. I keep saying league tournament, one of the best shooters, best rebounders. It's a good team. Bad draw for Wisconsin after a horrendous game from Tanji. That if he played like he played against Sparty in his game yesterday and they won the Big Ten chip, I'd be talking about Tanji the way that I'm talking about RJ Lewis.
I'm not holding that terribly over Wisconsin because I do think tired legs had a big factor in that game.
I was about to say, at the end of that game, they could not shoot the ball.
I know. 4 games in 4 days. I get it. 4 games in 4 days. I get it. Yeah. But that to me is what the tournament's about. Like,
well, you get more rest, so like it's tough because a lot of people go off these championship games. A lot of people go off what we saw in the finals, but that's a team that's mostly in all finals that have played 4 games in a row. I don't think you can hold that really against them for a whole tournament outlook. But I agree, it may be a lot less. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm not as high as Wisconsin as I was going into yesterday. I probably would have had Wisconsin maybe going a couple more wins in the tournament if I didn't see yesterday's game. I still think they're a very good team, but I will agree it did hurt. I think
my point was like more like the draw that they got because of losing that game. Really, like I hate their path. I hate their path.
That's fair. Totally fair. Well, Hefe, while you're going here, give us the rest of your futures. What do you got? We have about 1,100 people still here with us.
Well, that's
your futures.
Well, that's really it. I got St. John's to win their bracket, Michigan State to win theirs, Tennessee and Duke to win theirs respectively. Then I got Duke to win your national champion. I like Yale to make it to the Sweet 16, and I'll give you my. How about this? I will let it out early. I have a big, humongous. First day, money line, double digit, outright victor. Okay? I'm
excited because I know what it is, but I'm excited for.
I just want to make sure that I have the absolute correct number. Give me a second. I found it. My number one big I guess, upset alert pick. Not talking about spread, because I got quite a lot of double digits that I think can hang with single digit seeds in the first round. But my one outright, Akron Zips money line over Arizona. Akron.
I love it.
The only thing that I worry about is size. Arizona got a lot of big bodies, and Akron does not. But in terms of pace of play and scoring, Akron could keep up with Arizona.
Dude, that game is going to be such a high-scoring game.
It's going to be so good.
And I'm going to tell you this right now. And Caleb Love has now had 4 good games. He has never had a 5th good game in a row, ever. Ever.
If there's a president of the Caleb Love anti-fan club, not the fan club, anti-fan club, he's below us.
Okay. Akron is live. Plus 700. That's my one big money line outright upset winner that I'm taking. I will have many others, but for those, you have to tune in starting on Thursday at 10:30.
You're definitely right about that, Hefe. I'll go over my futures, and the futures I have, the big one, like I said earlier, is Michigan State to take home the title at plus 3,000. That's my big one. To make it out of the West, I have the Johnnies plus 650. To make it out of the South, I have Michigan State plus 550. Make it out of the East, Alabama plus 450. In the Midwest, I have Houston plus 105. All right, boys. JD, we need your futures.
Okay. Gonna go with these are to make the Final Four. I do have Florida at minus 125. Sprinkle on St. John's, though. Definitely have something on them. Like I said, I believe that's plus 600 or somewhere like around there. I have Michigan State, just actually like everybody here. You can get that at plus 550. I think that number is great. Then I have the Zags. That's the one I'm sure most people are not going to. They're not going to a
long shot, baby. Let's go, JD.
But I like that. You can get a plus 950 there. And then my favorite futures bet. This one I am going to be going pretty like heavy on, and that is Duke to make the Final Four at minus 125.
Yeah,
I just think for their path, those actually odds are a little light. So yeah. And then as far as to win it all, give me Florida. As much as I want to say Duke, but give me Florida.
There we go. Love it. All right, JD. I'm going to leave it up to you. You want to do best bets as in the first 4 first, or you want to do our futures graphic first?
Let's go and do futures graphic since we just talked about those.
All right, everyone. Take your phones out. Get your screenshots. You can see what we have for futures here. Definitely a ton of value. I am not going to read down the entire board, but you can see here what we have. Take your phones out. Get your screenshots. I'm going to leave it up for about 5 more seconds, and while I leave it up, screw it. I'm not putting up the best bets graphic. Sorry, ma'am in the back. I know you're going to be mad at me, but we're just going to dive right into it so I could leave this screen up while we talk about our first 4 best bets. JD, what are your best bets for the first 4?
First 4 games. Let me bring them up here and make sure I have the correct lines.
I'm also going to put that on the screen early as well. I'm going to put that up now so everybody can get their screenshots of our best bets, and here they are. But JD, break it down. Okay. Here are your first 4.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go with Xavier. Out of actually these 4 games, that actually is my favorite play by far. You can get them on the money line currently. It looks like a minus. Actually, you can get a minus 135 now. So I'm going to roll with that, and then give me San Diego State. Give me them at plus 4. At actually plus 4.5. Like I said, I'm not sure that actually they like outright win this one, but I do think it's going to be a very close game.
There we go. I'll go over mine next. I got UNC minus 3.5. I think they win a couple of games in the tournament as well, so I love them. St. Francis, the better cover team out of the 2. I am taking them plus 3.5, and I'm riding the Texas Longhorns plus 2.5. If they close us out.
UNC, just like you. Texas money line. I don't need the points. Best player on the court will show why he's the best player on the court. And Trey Johnson, they'll win that game. And in the first game, I'm taking Alabama State over a St. Francis PA team that I just don't believe belongs. And I think Alabama State can just outscore them.
There we go. Boys, that's going to do it at exactly 1 hour of the breakdown of our initial opening thoughts of March Madness. It's been a blast. We have about 1,200 people still with us. We appreciate every single one of you. Yet again, JD, let me throw this on the screen. Show announcement times for this week. We have 2 more shows this week. They will be Thursday morning and Friday morning at 10:30. Any news we want to drop about those shows, or we're just going to leave it?
Oh yeah, I think we're gonna go through.
You don't know the news yet. You don't know the news. You don't know the news yet.
Just wait. 10:30 in the morning. Alpha's gonna kick us up with at least a 25-minute, and I mean chalky breakdown to the details of SIUE Cougars versus Houston Cougars. It's the Cougars versus the Cougars.
Hefe loves Cougars. Well, gentlemen, it's been a fantastic show. Like I said, we've covered everything. We will be back on Thursday. Any parting words from you, Hefe, before we let JD do the thing?
When the Cougars face the Cougars, throw the record books out.
There we go. JD, please get me out of here.
Yeah, guys, that was a really fun show. If you would like to see some game breakdowns for today's games, make sure to join us at 5:00. As far as the NBA slate, it is a big one. So we will be going over that. Join us at 5:00. Yeah, guys, that was a lot of fun. This should be a really fun week. And just like always, let's fucking win.
Let's fucking win. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Jesus. On Thursday. We appreciate every single one of you. Peace.